Today's sermon is titled Nature as Nurture by Reverend Margaret A. Beckman, to be read by Sue Davis.
Wow. Thank you, Janet. And thank you very much, Mary and Jan, for the music. I tell you, it's really good when you're here live in the sanctuary. So for those of you at home, please come and join us with this beautiful music and setting, okay? And I also want to thank you for singing Morning Has Broken. When I was a little girl in England, we sang that every morning in assembly at school. You said Morning Has Broken. Oh, I'm sorry. That was the other one. See, I'm not reading off my script now, I'm ad-libbing. We sang two songs in morning assembly, and Morning Has Broken was one of them, and All Things Bright and Beautiful was the one that I remember most, and that's what you sang for me. Thank you. Sorry, now I go to my script, so much with ad-libbing. As to why I chose this sermon, so here you're used to seeing me in kind of my grown-up church clothes, but if you take a look at the picture on the screen, that is also me. It's the other me, outside on the trail in the dirt and mud, in another one of my happy places. Margaret Beckman completed a Master's of Art in Theological Studies at McCormick Theological Seminary in Chicago in 1983. In 1989, she and her partner moved to Maine. She continued her studies and was ordained by the UU Society of Bangor. She has completed 14 years as a hospice chaplain, 12 years as part-time minister, before she was called to serve the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Castine, Maine in 2016. Margaret and her partner, Christy, live in Dedham, Maine, where they enjoy life together at Green Lake. When not working, they are usually found in the sanctuary of the great outdoors. Yes.
We missed that one.
Yes. That's it. And I also wanted to show you my shirt today, even though I'm in my grown-up clothes for church. I did wear a shirt that says, "Let's go outdoors." The music really got to me. I'm kind of out of sync. It was just beautiful. I'm like there.
I forgot to turn my amplifier on.
It's been that kind of morning, but it's good because it's this kind of a sermon that's going to uplift us. So enjoy. This is Margaret Beckman's words. Shinrin Yoku. It's Japanese. It means forest bathing. Shinrin Yoku is a popular method of retaining or restoring health and well-being in Japan, and increasingly in many other places. Scientific studies of the practice have shown a variety of health benefits, from lowering stress and blood pressure to easing the side effects and increasing the effectiveness of cancer treatments. Spending time in nature can improve cognitive function and increase creativity. And here's one for you. Forest bathing can reduce morbid rumination, a condition of mental, emotional, spiritual rumination that leads one to focus on the negative aspects of one's life, oftentimes leading to increased anxiety and depression. Wandering quietly in the forest can lower the activity in this brooding portion of our brain and thus decrease morbid rumination and increase happiness. It is indeed fascinating that science can now describe, measure, and even to some extent predict the benefits of being in nature. It is heartwarming to know that science is discovering what wilderness enthusiastic people, spiritual guides, and healers have known since forever. That is, the natural world provides for our needs and can restore our souls when we are dispirited. I'm interested in getting more people outside in intentional forms of nature bathing that are naturally nurturing of mind, heart, body, and spirit. Did you know we are now spending about 93% of our time indoors? By the middle of this century, more than 66% of us will be living in cities. And we are more sick, more stressed, more depressed, more morbid, and we are less likely to report being content and happy. Being in nature is what the healer often orders, and now the doctors also are catching on. Andres R. Edwards educates and consults on sustainable practices for green building and business initiatives. He writes in Renewal, How Nature Awakens Our Creativity, Compassion, and Joy. During one of the most trying times in my life, when my marriage was coming to an end, I would venture daily into the forest area near our home and take the family dog for a long walk. Walking through the meandering fire roads gave me the space to reflect on my current predicament and what lay ahead. Having the dog as my companion was an added bonus. During this difficult time, nature provided me with release from the stress of a major life transition. The exercise, combined with the beautiful scenery and my dog's company, was my daily dose of soothing comfort. Gazing at the ancient redwoods reminded me of the many winter storms and changes they've weathered during their lifetime. Seeing a red-tailed hawk soaring above helped me to think of the need for a bird's eye view, for a broader perspective on my own circumstances. Witnessing the vegetation, ants, butterflies, and squirrels mirrored to me that life is constantly evolving and adapting over time. Looking back several years later, I appreciate the healing power of my walks in nature. The wilderness gave me a place to reflect, discern, plan, and exhale from the stress of the personal changes taking place. Taking time to stop and look closely at the insects, the flowers, rocks, and leaves rejuvenated my spirit and gave me renewed appreciation for how life is constantly unfolding around us. Even during the subsequent years, as I adjusted to my new status, being in nature gave me a constant grounding that I cherish to this day. This was excerpted from Renewal, How Nature Awakens Our Creativity, Compassion, and Joy by Andres Edwards. Even small doses of nature taken regularly, not in combination with screen time or multitasking, can preserve good health and well-being. Longer infusions can produce more dramatic and perhaps longer-lasting health and spiritual benefits. The three-day effect. Outdoor guides have long noticed a shift in people after 3 days on a wilderness trip. On the third day, participants are far enough removed from their ordinary lives that they shift the way they interact with the natural world and the way they reflect on their life and their place in the world. The term three-day effect was coined by David Strayer, a cognitive psychologist who specializes in the benefit of attention. He wanted to know if this shift in well-being was more than a fleeting emotional high. After taking groups backpacking into the wilderness for at least 3 days, Strayer discovered that the participants performed an impressive 50% better on creative problem-solving tasks. And it was on day 3 that the magic happened. Or, as Straya put it, this is the point that the cleaning of the mental windshield occurs. It boils down to this: your brain needs a break from technology and everyday stresses. It takes 3 days in nature for your brain to really relax. It takes 3 days for your spirit to renew. Florence Williams is a freelance writer and outdoor enthusiast. On assignment for the National Geographic, she too observed and documented the 3-day effect. When we slow down, stop the busy work, and take in beautiful natural surroundings, not only do we feel restored, but our mental performance improves too. That was Florence Williams, National Geographic, January 2016. But what about the healing powers of nature? Can nature fix what has gone terribly wrong for people who experience trauma, high stress, and anxiety? Or the deeply challenging periods of our lives when things we took for granted or counted on for our own happiness are lost? Florence Williams set out to answer that question. She signed up to go on a wilderness rafting trip in Utah for combat veterans who live with physical and emotional injuries. She signed up to go on a backpacking trip for women who are recovering from being captives in sex trafficking operations. The 3-day effect for both groups was dramatic. Participants were able to talk about their experience and reflect on their lives in ways that gave them an inner calm and hope for the future that they did not have prior to the wilderness trip. It's not rocket science, but it is a bit of magic. There are 3 elements of being in nature that promote and invite us to be restored and renewed. The first, intention. We must be willing to go into nature with the intention of being with nature and allowing the natural world to change us. Attention. We must put aside our devices and to-do lists and use all of our 5 or 6 senses to interact with our surroundings. Most of us rely on just 2 senses, seeing and hearing. When we are in nature, we expand our awareness to include all our senses, and we focus our attention on what we are experiencing. We taste the water, we hear the birdsong, we feel the change of wind as it brushes our face. We feel the roughness of the tree's bark. We smell the flowers and the mud and the air. Our awareness expands so we know that we are in the presence of creation and that we are creation, not separate from or an observer of, but that we are creation, along with everything else that surrounds us. It is a sense of being insignificant and all-encompassing all at the same time. When our attention is focused and our heart is open, magic happens. The third is awe. The sense of awe is common when we are in nature, and our intention and attention are in harmony with the place that we are. Awe can occur on a short walk to a high vista, or while watching the tide change at Fundy Bay. A sustained sense of awe can set in with the 3-day effect when everything merges into a creative whole of which we are a part. Some will describe this sense of awe as being in the presence of the divine or God or the angels or the ancestors. Whatever it is, it's amazing. And no one yet has been able to capture adequately the experience in words. That's it. Intention, attention, and awe. Whether we are going full throttle for the multiple health and spiritual benefits of the 3-day effect by participating in a multi-day wilderness trip or taking a healthy dose of forest bathing, from time to time as nature therapy and restorative wandering in the woods, nature can nurture our spirit and restore well-being and happiness. Healers and spiritual guides have been sending people out into nature for millennia. Time for us to get with the program and get outside. Here in Castine on the Blue Hills Peninsula, we are in a near perfect habitat to take advantage of nature's gifts. A forest bath is half a mile away at Wilbury Woods. On a clear day, the long view is utterly awe-inspiring. On a cloudy or rainy or snowing day, the discovery of things close by in the trees or bushes or patterns of the wind-swept snow is awe-inspiring. Sailors, you know about the restorative power of an hour of simply drifting with the motion of the waves. Sounds a bit like Cambria, right? Minus the snow. Some of you remember the first time you climbed the trail at Blue Hill and looked out on an awe-inspiring panorama view of the ocean. We don't need to go far to be wrapped up in the beauty of nature. We just need to remember to get out and be in nature the best way we can. None of us is probably going to climb Everest or raft the Amazon. But being in nature, even with all our limitations or physical abilities and time constraints, can be a great way to keep strong in body, heart, mind, and spirit. Naturalist John Muir went into nature initially to heal an eye injury, and then for the rest of his life to feed his spirit. He knew all about the benefits of forest bathing and remaining outside for at least 3 days. Keep close to nature's heart and break away once in a while and climb a mountain or spend a week in the woods. Wash your spirit clean. Muir quoted by Samuel Hall Young in Alaska Days with John Muir, 1915. No synonym for God is so perfect as beauty. Whether as seen carving the lines of the mountains with glaciers, or gathering matter into stars, or planning the movement of water or gardening, still all is beauty. That was from John of the Mountains, the unpublished journals of John Muir, 1938. The ancient Hebrew prophets, priests, and kings knew this all well. Think through the intention, attention, and awe that is evident in the 23rd Psalm. It is not a surprise that these images of nature provide comfort and restoration for many in times of grief, loss, or confusion. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. Let me end with the wisdom of our Naho elders who know that beauty is our constant companion. If we allow it, and if we accept its invitation to be with us always. This is I Walk in Beauty, a Navajo prayer song. Beauty in front of me, beauty behind me, beauty above me, and beauty below me. Beauty all around me, I walk in beauty. In the house of long life, there I wander. In the house of happiness, there I wander. Beauty before me, beauty behind me, beauty above me, and beauty below me, beauty all around me. In old age traveling, with it I wander. On the beautiful trail I am, with it I wander. In beauty it is begun, in beauty it is finished. May you always find your way back to nature and let it nurture and restore your spirit. And so it is.